Young whippersnapper Isaac. Yes, yes, yes. I try to deceive everyone with my gray beard and lack of hair into being older than I am, so they take me seriously. But it only goes so far when you say things like Goo Goo Dolls and Smash Mouth.
Embrace the gray, Isaac.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. Today, I'm not going to steal your thunder, Monty, but as a kind of primer, so we're going to be talking about LinkedIn, also known as engagement pods. So, Monty, this is your wheelhouse. Not saying pods are your wheelhouse, but just content marketing in general is your wheelhouse. So, why don't you go ahead and take it from here and let's rock and roll.
Sounds good. All right. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Pods. If you don't know what pods are, we'll start right there. It's basically a collection of people who agree to come together, and if you saw the email, Isaac laid it out for you. But it's a group of people that come together who agree to comment and like a post when you post it to LinkedIn. So, excuse me. It's done a number of ways. Sometimes it can be done through the LinkedIn chat itself. Most of the time, it's typically done off platform using some kind of messaging technology like Telegram, what have you. So
Slack.
Slack. So if you can, however you can get a group of people together to comment, once you post your post, then you copy the link for that post, you drop it into your comment pod, then everybody is then alerted at that point to then go and engage. Okay, so that's the basics of it. How do you find one to be in? It's pretty easy, actually. Pods are pretty widely used and well known on LinkedIn, and you can simply ask somebody who has high volume engagement and stuff like that. If they are using a pod, you'll have to connect with them, message them. But if they are using a pod, if they are, typically they'll let you into one. It's mostly about numbers, how many people they can get into it. So the more people you can get into it, the more comments you can have, so on and so forth. So they're readily available, but you have to be aware of what you're getting into. Okay, so do not, number one, use a paid pod. Number one, it's a waste of money. Number two, they're directly against what the rules, if you would, of LinkedIn. So if you are in a paid pod, there is high likeliness that it can be sniffed out and potentially you can get your account in trouble. So be careful with them. Now, LemPod is one of the most widely known and widely used right now. My guess is that probably pretty soon LemPod will be done away with on LinkedIn. And I know that that's a paid pod. I think they're out of Australia, but there's a number of them that are like that, right? So you can even Google, paid pods for LinkedIn and stuff and come up with various companies that will do this. Just be very careful with those. Go ahead.
I know I'm supposed to wait, sorry, but can you clarify, just for people that are brand new to this, what's the difference between what's a paid pod and a free or organic one?
Yes, a paid pod is just that. They're typically companies that create pod bots, if you would. They will use a lot of fake accounts to drive the engagement for that. They'll use a combination of fake accounts and real accounts to drive the engagement. Pods that are not paid are just a group of people that agree to come together and engage one another. So those can be very large. I've seen pods, and early when I just jumped on LinkedIn, when I didn't really know any better, I got involved in pods that had 200 some odd people in them. So, and that was free, and that was all done through a messaging app. I was in there for a couple of weeks before I figured out that it's crazy. So, does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Sorry.
No
Thank you.
worries. Okay, so why would you use a pod to begin with? Anytime a platform has a time-based algorithm, pods are going to exist. So in the past, leading up to last August of last year, LinkedIn had what was known as a golden hour. And the golden hour was you needed to get comments and engagement, as many as you possibly could within that hour, and then it would open up your network to get more views. So the reason that people get in pods to begin with is to simply get engagement. If you are new on the platform, even if you're not new, a lot of people who haven't developed what we call a tribe, a group of people that you follow, have a very difficult time getting engagement on LinkedIn. It is not an easy platform. So one of the quickest ways and the shortcut to that is to jump into a pod. And if you do jump into a pod, you're going to get that engagement and you're going to get that immediate boost in views. So anytime, and all social platforms, by the way, have this and have had it. You can get in pods on almost any platform to try and drive engagement to your content. And in some ways, pre-August, last August, they were extremely effective. You could get 3, 4, 5 times the amount of views that you would get if you can get engagement within that first hour. Since August, that is not necessarily the truth. And I can show you that here in a minute. So do they go against the algorithm? Yes and no. Technically, if you just read through the algorithm, the one thing that they say is you're not supposed to manipulate the algorithm in any way. So this technically is somebody trying to manipulate the algorithm because they're getting engagement that's not organic. So in that sense, it does, and this shouldn't go against the algorithm, it goes against the user agreement. So in that sense, yes, it does go against the user agreement. In another sense, though, LinkedIn promotes pods itself. And I'll show you why they do that. And I'll show you why pods done organically are the way to go and what you want to look at doing. The good of pods, you get immediate engagement, you get higher views of your content, and you can develop a community. Now, the term pods in itself has to be clarified. You know, a pod is really just simply a group of people that come together to do this. But another way to say this is a tribe. Because if you establish relationships with people and you like their content and you want to engage their content, it's technically the same thing. It's just the only difference, the key difference there is whether or not when you post it, you're forced, if you would, the idea is you're forced to go and comment and put engagement, or if it's just organically done because you like it and you want to do it. So what's the evil side of pods? The first one is the most important. It's just the forced engagement. Okay, the second one is equally more important. Typically, what you're looking at out of pods is low value engagement. The third, these top three are kind of the most, because typically there's low quality content, not in the way it's written itself, so to speak. It's low quality content in what you may be trying to accomplish on the platform. For instance, most of my content is entirely directed around marketing and sales, specifically around LinkedIn. I'll put LinkedIn tips and stuff like that with my content as well. But if I join a pod that has 200 people and I'm required to go in and comment on this, there's going to be a lot of content in there that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to accomplish on the platform, which is speak directly with people who are interested in marketing and sales on LinkedIn. So if I'm out there commenting on some new medical device or, what have you, those comments do show up in your feed. For one, it'll, you can see it yourself. It'll say Monty likes this, or Monty also commented on this, or whatever. So if you are doing that on a regular basis and it has nothing to do with your content or with your audience, if you would, you're in a sense kind of defeating your purpose. So that's the one reason why not to be in it. Another reason is it is a absolute huge time suck to be in most pods. The reason I was only in that pod for that had a couple hundred people was just the amount of time that it takes for you to have to go and comment on that volume of content. What happens is this low value engagement, what people wind up doing is saying, thanks for sharing, nice post. That has no value to you. One, you're not doing business. You're not going to be able to do business with that person. And when you're in pods, you're not basically doing business with anybody in that pod. You're there for one purpose, to engage each other. So that takes time away from actual engagement that you could be doing on high value posts of people that are within your network that you should be talking to and creating engagement with. And they will restrict you to that group. So the current algorithm, how the algorithm works is, it's all data driven. They track patterns. So if you are posting at 7 o'clock every day into your pod and you get the same 15, 20, 30, however many people that are in that pod commenting, LinkedIn's not going to have any problem with that. But they will keep you within that group of people and their networks. So getting into your second tier, even your third tier, becomes very difficult because they're going to keep you within that group of people, right? So the latest algorithm change has eliminated that golden hour. It's no longer critical that you get engagement within the first hour, so to speak, of your post, because posts are living longer. So you do have more opportunity to get views into your content over time. And I'll even show you a post that I had yesterday that I specifically did not engage it, just to show you that the algorithm has changed so significantly from August of last year that it doesn't make sense to do pods. Can pods be done right? Yes, they can. You can do pods, but we don't call them pods. We call them creating a following, if you would, or creating your tribe. And those are people that you appreciate their content, they're posting on a regular basis. You engage those people, and then they come back to you and engage you. And LinkedIn does encourage this, and I'll show you how they do that. Company page pods. This is the one difference, though. Company page pods are absolutely necessary, and LinkedIn does encourage it. But they encourage it in a very specific way, and so I'll show you that as well. So then we talked a little bit about the algorithm patterns. The point of what LinkedIn wants us to do as users is to engage the platform organically without any automated or pre-constructed process that somehow, will manipulate their algorithm. As users, we are always trying to figure out the algorithm. That's what we do, because you want to be successful with the platform and you need to understand the algorithm so that you can be successful with it. But whenever you're approaching, what I've learned over the past few years is whatever I'm trying to do, try and do it in a way that fits within the model of LinkedIn and do it as organically as possible. And a lot of the ways that you do that is to avoid patterns that the algorithm immediately just picks up. So I'm going to jump over to my profile, show you guys a couple of things here. This is the post that I posted yesterday, and I just engaged it this morning. I did not touch this post all day yesterday at all. And you can see, and this is actually a share of a post from our company page content. Okay, so you can see that I've gotten 7,837 views of this post, and it only has 4 comments. All right, and so the other 4 comments are mine, and I put those on today, just today. So this didn't go through a pod. It's got 12 people who have liked it yesterday, but I did not engage that at all. Now, that is a high number, and not all of my content gets that high of a number by any means, but you can see that it did not go through a pod, and it has gotten that engagement. And I have to go through, unfortunately, I have to take you through my featured posts because, and I feature my post every day because I'm in creator mode, and for whatever LinkedIn's coming out with a new algorithm, or not an algorithm, a new way to show analytics. And so they've removed the analytics from my posts except for the current day. But I just found out today that the only way I can see my analytics on past posts is through my featured section. So this post, 13 comments, 29 likes, 5,000 views. No pods. Let's see. I'll go back one. Oh, wait, let's go to the rows one. 5,000 views on that one. This again, no pods, 20,000 views, 33 and 50. Okay, so it's not about when I put those in. Now let me show you today's post. I do not put these in pods, right? So today I've only got 3 comments so far, only 346 views. That's what I found since last August is pretty typical. It's going to start off very slowly. And this is regardless of how many people come in and add comments to my posts. I'll have some posts that if I'm out engaging on the platform, I'll have a lot more people come in, engage early within that first hour. It will not change this view parameter. But over time, what they're doing now is they want to see content in a slow drip engagement, right? So after, if I get all my engagement between 8 to 9 o'clock, it will not do nearly as well. I have noticed on my own personal content, it will not do nearly as well as if I get ongoing engagement from 8 to 5. So if I get a couple comments in the morning, and then I get a couple in the afternoon, I get a couple towards the end of the day, that post is going to do significantly better than from a view standpoint than if I had just 10 comments all between 8 or 7:30 to 8 o'clock. Now, company page content. Company page content is a little bit different. It is extremely difficult to get any kind of engagement to company page content, and LinkedIn knows this. Okay, the reason why is people do business with faces, right? We like to see Dr. Evil show up in our emails. We want to see, we want to talk to people, we want to interact with people. We don't interact with brands. And LinkedIn has in your profile or in your feed already, they have all kinds of company ads. Those are all brands. So once we are already conditioned to, when we see a brand page, to not engage it. So what they've done is when you post, you can alert your own team, so to speak. You can alert your employees. All right. And so what the whole point of that is, get those people to come in and engage this content here. If you can get all of your employees to come and engage that content, then it really does do significantly better in the algorithm than if you have no engagement at all. Okay, so company pages are the one caveat to that. Now, if I go to my homepage, how do you build up your own tribe? Or why does LinkedIn promote your own tribe and your own pod, so to speak? If I change my feed from recent to top, every single one of these people that they show me are people that I have engaged with in the past week. So Kareem, I've engaged. Art Envy, which is Peter Gorel, I engage his stuff on a regular basis. Christine, Gordon, Jeff, every single one of these, with exception of two. These two people I have not engaged in the past week. They're trying to bring in something new. Jerry, I have. So all of that is stuff that I've commented on. I've not just seen, I'm not just lurking on it. I've actually commented or liked it, engaged it in some way. Once you do that, LinkedIn's going to say, okay, you like this person, you like this content, I'm going to show it to you again. If I engage it again, I'm more in essence, I will be building up my own pod organically from LinkedIn. LinkedIn will feed me the people that I want to engage. Right? Now, do they feed it to you every single day? If I engage them every day, yes, they will. If I don't engage them for a week, they may feed me something else of something that I've engaged. But you in essence, LinkedIn's creating your own pod for you simply by who you engage and how often. Now, sometimes if they don't feed it to me, what I will do is I have created a folder called Linked Follow, right? And these are just people that I enjoy their content and I want to engage on a regular basis. And I don't know, can you guys see this list? It's falling outside of my visible window.
Yeah, we can see the drop down there from Chrome, yeah.
Okay, good. So, basically what I'll do is I'll go to these people, I'll go to their post section. Go to their post section here, and I will copy this bit as a bookmark and drop it in a folder. So if LinkedIn doesn't show me Michael's content from one day to the next, I will go over here and I'll find it. Now, the more people that I have that I engage on an ongoing regular basis, it's human nature that you give to get, so to speak. So as I'm engaging those people, it's highly likely that they will engage my content as well. But here's the key factor. I don't want them to do it every single day. I want them to come in organically when they like my content and they want to engage my content. And I want to follow and build up a network of a fairly sizable amount of people, anywhere from 25 to 35 different people that I will engage on an ongoing basis, because I want them to come in and engage my content organically, because I want to avoid patterns. I don't want LinkedIn to say, oh, well, you've got 10 people that show up here from 7 to 7:30. That's your people. We're going to keep you within that group. I want it to be, and I don't want to put a timestamp on it. I don't want to say to them, to all these 35 people that I work with or engage with, hey, I'm going to post at 7:30 a.m. and I want you to come out and comment on that. Because with the way the algorithm works right now, it's much more preferable if you have that engagement over time. So if they know that my content is out there, whether it's 7:30 or 10:30 in the morning, what I'm looking for is people that I know, and I like, and I'm engaging their content. They know me, they like me, they're engaging my content, and they're coming in as they are on the platform and as they want to, and they are engaging my content. They won't do it every single day. Some will. I do have a handful of people that engage my content every day. They are my closest, people that I engage all the time. So if you're going to, it does take a little bit more time, but honestly, it does not take that long. If you start engaging people on a regular basis, that they will come and engage you on a regular basis as well. And I go out and I find new people on a very regular basis to engage as well. I don't just stick with the same 35 people for the life of my involvement on LinkedIn. So I will specifically go search out hashtags. If I go to a sales hashtag into this feed, I'll go find people who are engaging this on a regular basis, and I'll go engage them. And quite often, as I engage them over time, over a period of days, they will typically come back and engage my content as well. So how do you know if somebody's in a pod? You really just look at the comments that they have. If you see a lot of comments that are nice posts, thanks for sharing, so on and so forth, and there's a lot of them, it's pretty typical that they're in a pod. If you find somebody that has high value engagement, meaning people are actually almost creating content around your own content, and you're having discussion in your comments, those are the people that you really want to latch onto and try and engage more, because they're very active users and they're doing it in an organic way. Those are the real people that are going to give you a lot of boost, if you would, back to your own content. Because typically, if I go comment on somebody's posts, my network's going to pick it up. The people that I see it or that I engage may see it and pick it up and go comment as well. So we're going to stop there. I'll stop the share. Then we'll jump into discussion.
Okay, my question, Monty, then what's the answer to the question then? Are pods good or evil?
Both.
No,
they're good and evil.
Give me the summary phrase.
Yes. They're good if you do it in an organic way. They're evil if you are just simply using it to manipulate views and to try and to drive your view count up, because you're actually defeating your purpose.
It seems like you should ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve by selecting a group of people? I feel like there's really two ways you could go here, and you should ask yourself this question. Is your goal to try and make your content reach go farther, period? Or is it to find synergistic content with synergistic networks to make your life easier, better, and I guess naturally that your content would go farther, but like maybe that's what you should ask yourself, what's your goal? Is it to just trying to make your content go farther, trying to cook the books, or like find a synergistic crowd, I guess?
Yes. His strategy is always your first consideration on LinkedIn. What are you trying to accomplish with LinkedIn? I mean, if you are just trying to accomplish followers and building up followers and then building up views, then I highly recommend that you just go find cute baby pictures and little kittens that are batting yarn balls and post that every day, because those get high views.
My squirrel video got high views.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Even tree rats will get high views. And if you have a business purpose, either you're trying to find a job or you're trying to build up business and so on and so forth. You want to be very strategic about who you connect with and why. But then in your content, I have two things that I'm trying to do. One, I do want my content to get out there and be seen by people. Okay. I absolutely want views. And anybody that says that they don't want views, they're just posting to post, is lying. We all want views. Okay. So what's the best way to go about getting the views is the question then. And then what is the effect of those views? What's the purpose of it? So I try and find people that are actively engaged on a daily basis with LinkedIn, that are posting every single day, and that they are out there and they do have their purpose is building quality views. Okay. Those are the type of people that I want to engage because I know that they will come back and engage me as well. So in a sense, I'm building an engagement, an organic engagement tribe, if you would. But from my business purpose, I'm connecting with people who I think I can do business with and whose problem I think I can solve. So I'm connecting with those people. I don't connect randomly. I'm not a lion, a LinkedIn open networker. I only connect with people who I think have the problem that I can solve. But my content is also driven around nurturing people through that buyer's journey into a conversation with me. So my content has purpose and it's not for everybody, which is why I don't build up 100,000, followers and stuff. I don't care about that. It's not about followers and getting 1 million views per post. It's about, can I communicate and help somebody nurture their way through a buying journey with the content that I create that then leaves the breadcrumbs back to a conversation with me directly. So there's a multiple prong, strategy and approach to how you build up your tribe, so to speak, why you would be in a pod, so to speak, and what you do with it.
And for those of you who missed it, we're in panelist discussion. So let's do this for about 5 more minutes and then move to open Q&A. I'll have one more comment, and then I'd love to hear from the other panelists. Forever ago, when I worked for a different company, we did BNI, which is like just a weekly meetup. It's great, good intention, good strategy, all local, in person. And I observed, and I'm sure you have as well, that there were certain like micro groups within the groups that really benefit each other well. And so like off the top of my head, it was the realtor is always passing referrals to the mortgage broker and back and forth. And then there's a home inspection, all of those things where they're different companies, different people, but they really work well together, even though they're separate. I could see something like that, that kind of crowd working really well together in this context as well, because there's not even a direct competition, but there's a lot of synergy and the shared needs of your audience. There's a lot of overlap there between your different networks. So
yeah,
that's.
I have a question, and that has to do with about liking and commenting on your own stuff. When, how, what's the best practice there? When do
liking has no value in the algorithm of your own post, your own personal post. It's no reason to do it. Commenting on your own posts, like if I posted this morning and I went and put 10 comments on my post before anybody else posted, it's meaningless. It has no value to my post. It's not, they don't consider your own engagement as engagement, if that makes sense. Now, what they do though, is they do consider your engagement, engaging other people's comments as engagement. So if that post I showed you that I didn't engage at all yesterday, if I would have engaged those 4 people, a very short time after they had commented, that post would have more views than 7,000. So
there are times, Monty, where there's things that we want to put in the comments itself and not in the post, because so you don't want to like demerit something by putting a link or something like that in the post itself. That's part of what I was asking about as well.
Which is fine. You can do that. It just doesn't boost your post in terms of views or anything. Does that make sense?
Would you do that immediately after, if you had the plan that here's my post and here's the thing that I want to put in right after? Would you do the post and then immediately after do the comment that says, oh, by the way, here's a link to it or something? Or would you wait a while for some other action to happen?
I've done both, and I have not seen any difference in.
Might as well do it right away then, huh?
It's views. Yeah.
Do you think there's a sweet spot as far as how many people you have in that group? Like, because if there's too many in there, it's like, I feel like there's a law of diminishing returns there, to where there's just too much stuff. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, that's exactly why I like doing it organically. Because if I've got 50 people that I like to follow and engage, I get to pick and choose, and they get to pick and choose whether they follow me. There's no, you have to come at 7:30 and comment on this, right? So in my list of people that I engage, I don't engage those every day. I just pick and choose the one, and I'll lurk on content sometimes. I'll just look at a post and not engage it. I only want to comment on things that I think are quality and that are going to bring value back to my own network. And because that improves my own following, I have noticed that the more quality engagement that I have through comments on people's posts, the more followers I will get. And it's just amazing how that works. I'll get, you can get followers without even posting your own content. If you're very active with commenting and you do high quality engagement on other people's content, you'll build a following. So, the answer is do it organically. And then you don't have the pressure of I have to, and I'm forced to do this.
So we got 15 minutes left. I want to make sure that we make time here for open Q&A. Vivica, why don't you kick it off? And then everyone after Vivica, do the hand raise.
Yeah, Monty, and I like you. I mean, I have slowly aggregated people on LinkedIn that I feel have really high quality content. You're included on a list, and I kind of get my inspiration there as well. But what I was going to say is that, I mean, I'd say 90% of the clients that I have connected with, that I have now the last few months, has all been in the comments, very thoughtful comments. And sometimes these are pretty extensive threads, either from my own post or somebody else that I admire. And I can assume that person whose quality content I admire, that they're also connected to people that have a certain quality. So it starts feeling like there is that tribe there. But in the comments, I mean, that's what I consider postings. Sometimes I don't have time to do an entire, thoughtful post every day, but I make darn well sure that I go into the comments of somebody I really look up to, admire, and give a thoughtful comment there at least. And that has really accelerated my client base hugely. Mm-hmm. So, yep.
That's great insight.
Excellent.
But it's quality over quantity, and not the great Postmate, right? It's totally meaningless and transparent.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And due to the nature of the platform, we just traditionally think that content is posting. Right. But to your point, I mean, the more quality engagement that you have yourself on the platform, in addition to people that engage you, you can have a lot more success.
Yeah. So, and do you guys have any thoughts really quick on the first comment? If you comment yourself on your post, sometimes I feel like this content is going to be really, really relevant and of value to one or two clients or people in my tribe. And so I might tag them, 2 or 3 people I'll tag in the first comment after the post and say, what are your thoughts on this? And 9 out of 10 times they'll respond, not because I'm trying to get engagement, but because I know that they're going to have thoughts on that particular topic.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to use tagging.
Yeah.
Tag farms don't work.
Right.
By the way, tag farming is, I'm gonna get a list of 45 people that have high volume engagement, and I'm gonna tag them. I don't know them. I may be connected, I may not be connected. It's just
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about at all. Yeah.
totally, I understand. I'm telling everybody else that,
Yep.
if you're going to take the tag farm approach, LinkedIn's eliminated that. It does
Yep.
not work.
For sure. I like the slow drip that's been implemented though, because I do see responses and
much.
activity for many, many hours after a post. I think that's a good move on LinkedIn's behalf.
Absolutely.
I'll try.
All right, Shireen, you're up.
Okay, well, I just have kind of like a quick question around, you said that LinkedIn wants to do things organically and not try to have any kind of patterns. And to me, I want to know, maybe you can speak to it. I don't have time to sit on LinkedIn, so I use a planner to do my post out there.
Yeah.
And so, it's interesting because I actually saw a question that Jay asked. It's like, and which is similar to what I'm asking. So does that mean that I should not use a planner, or just maybe instead of having a set time, use random times for how I use that to post my content?
No. So let me clarify the difference. When you're engaging the platform yourself personally, meaning when you're viewing content, who you're engaging, the comments that you're putting down there, when you post, whether or not you're putting it in a pod, or not. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Okay. LinkedIn does allow automation in terms of its posting. That's absolutely fine. Okay. And there's a number, from Hootsuite to, Agora Pulse. There's all kinds of different companies that do automation. They all fall short in some way, but the point is, I post between 7:30 to 8 o'clock every day. LinkedIn Central doesn't track that and go, oh, we're going to, you're using automation, which I don't. I'm not using automation on that. But regardless, even if I did, I have in the past. It's entirely about your own active engagement on the platform. So if I post it and ghost it, so to speak, meaning the platform itself or my automation has posted and I'm not there to respond to comments and engage, then yeah, that's going to be suppressed somewhat in terms of my views that I'm going to be able to get. But if I use an automation to post it, what I'm going for is the people that I do engage, I want them to become aware of my own patterns. Right? Because that's important. I want people to know that I post between 7:30 and 8 because they're going to know when to see it. Right. And I'm engaging the people that are there at that time. And then it trickles down over time. So I would not randomly post throughout the day. That's not going to have any value to you. You're going to have much more success if you pick a time where you know that the people who are active with you are going to traditionally see it. So that's in your own time zone. And it should be around people that are active at that time. Does that make sense?
Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
A good question, Shireen. Laura, you are up.
I want to stick to the 30 seconds, but there are three things. One's a question, one's a LinkedIn feature that can help, and one is an alternate view.
20 seconds. Now you're down to 20. I'm just kidding.
Which would you like?
Do them all.
How about if there's no other raise hand queue, we do them one at a time.
Okay, so the LinkedIn feature that I noticed quite recently is when you're in Sales Navigator and you're searching for leads. So you've got your demographic filters put in, you've got your list of leads. They've now got this little hyperlink on your list of people, which says posted. So although you can search for those that were active in the last 30 days, it can help you to easily spot who has posted. And then it does this little preview box and you can see what they've posted about, which could be quite handy to find I used to call them social agents. So, your own
Super
pod
handy.
of people who are posting relevant things. I thought that was a really cool feature. So I just wanted to flag
Definitely.
that.
Definitely a great shout out.
On the pods side of things, I have experimented with pods quite a bit. And one thing, the conclusion that I came to was I can get better quality comments in a pod if I make it a private pod. And then when I create my own comments for myself, I change those comments from the "Hey, great post" to something that's really long and specific. And I'm like asking myself the stuff I hoped I would want somebody to ask. So I'm having a conversation with myself ultimately on LinkedIn to get things going. But I did find that the private and where you can change the comments helps with that quality over quantity issue that you mentioned.
So you're saying that you created a private group of maybe 5-10 people.
Yeah.
And then when you post, you're also giving them the comments that you'd like them to post?
Yeah, but obviously I'm writing them in myself, and then they just get attached to one of the profiles, and they might be 2-3 sentences long.
Sure. Yeah,
Just
that'd be one way that you could do it. Obviously, it couldn't be a huge pod, but
No.
it definitely, and that would alleviate people's necessity for having to come up with something to say, and it provides, the content that you want to have on that post. So yeah,
It's still against the terms of user agreement and stuff like that, I suppose. So because you're using information.
look, let's be honest. The user agreement was created way back when, and it's a catch-all. Okay, but there's all kinds of things that people do that go directly against the quote unquote user agreement that LinkedIn allows. It's kind of like going 60 in a 55 mile per hour zone. Right?
Yeah. I think that's a good way of describing it. Finally, my question. I noticed that you have 6 hashtags on your personal posts. Have you been experimenting with that? Because I would normally keep it to 4 or 5.
It's huge misnomer of people that saying that it's 3 hashtags. It is not. Okay, it's the whole reason that has come up is simply because a well-known LinkedIn person said that they talked to somebody at LinkedIn who told them no more than 3 hashtags. All the rest get ignored. They do not. It is they allow 5 on a company page. I use 5 on my personal page posts, and I've tested it. They show up in all 5 places. So I use 5 plus a personal hashtag. I just use Monty Clark so that people can get to my content wherever they want. I have all of 69 users or 69 followers for Monty Clark, but I still put it there.
That's good.
I just don't promote it.
I'm going to follow you. Thanks.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, any other questions? And we've got about 4 minutes, so if we could keep it on point with this specific topic, I feel like it's really easy to deviate into just content marketing practices. But on the topic of pods, any final questions here before we wrap up the meeting?
So really quickly, Monty, if I understood you right, it doesn't matter whether I have 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers, it's about the right pod. Participate in the right pod.
It's about participating with the right group of people according to your own personal strategy of what you're trying to accomplish on LinkedIn.
Right. So LinkedIn connections is the amount I have or don't have is irrelevant.
No, not necessarily. I have 23 some odd or 22 some odd thousand followers. I'm connected to like 15,000 people.
Okay.
So that group of people, those connections, I'm very specific about who I connect with and why. The 22,000, fantastic. I want to follow my content, and because you appreciate it, I really appreciate that. And I will, anybody that engages me, I will engage them. So that, there's a distinct difference between the followers and your connections. Connections, I'm very specific and strategic about of who I want to connect with and why.
Okay.
Yeah, also, Pete, I'll add my 2 cents there. you don't want to like rent someone else's following.
No.
At the end of the day, you need it. You need to have your own.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah.
We've
So
got 2 minutes left.
let me say
Right.
one last thing to that, Pete, too. As far as getting in pods, right? Typically, pods are a hodgepodge of people. And you don't do any kind of business or anything like that in those pods anyway, right? So what value is a bunch of random people coming and commenting on your posts saying nice posts? It's of no value at all. It doesn't increase your business, so to speak, or those you can do business with. And the views, it's only like if you post and nobody wants to engage that content, it's more of an issue of your content. Okay. And you should start with your content, not go try and fabricate views thinking your content's fantastic, but nobody wants to engage it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, I feel like Pete, we could have like we could feature this discussion for a while just for context, and then we can probably wrap it up. So Pete's part of C-Suite Impact, which is a very real life, natural. You've got a bunch of businesses that work well together, even though they're separate. They're together, and they're very complementary, right, Pete? And so,
correct.
just like they are very complementary in real life, you're probably trying to figure out how can these different organizations and all the people involved engage with each other's material in a way that makes it all go a lot farther. And I feel like if anyone's going to do this, Pete, you are a great candidate to hit a home run with it, honestly.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to get this to my outreach team.
Yeah.
So it'll be up on the
Cool.
website like in what, 10 minutes? I mean, on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Channel.
Close. Give it 11.
All right.
All right. We're on the hour, so let's call it a meeting. Next week, we will be talking about sales KPIs